Hello everyone, welcome back to Autotrend TV. I am your VIPRAAJESHNG again from Ramani Volkswagen Coimbatore today. You have been requesting the test drive of the new BS6 compliant 1 liter TSI Volkswagen Polo, and I am here to do exactly that. Now this here is the top spec Highline Plus Volkswagen Polo TSI, and let's go in for a detailed test drive. Yes folks, right now I am inside the new Volkswagen Polo BS6 1 liter TSI Highline Plus variant, and right now I am going to start the car. So let's just turn on the ignition. So as you can see, the NVH is amazing. You do not get any vibration on the steering wheel and even on the pedals. You barely notice the engine noise as well. So I think that you have to check once and twice to see whether the engine is turned on or not. So now let's start driving. The gear lever is of course very slick. Everything is beautiful to operate, just like before. Everything falls into hand very easily. So talking about perfect ergonomics from Volkswagen, that is a big plus point. So the initial response is that it is really responsive. Even though being just a 1 liter petrol engine, you are actually surprised. You will be surprised when you start accelerating, because this definitely does not feel like a 1 liter petrol engine. The turbo is that good. The tuning is amazing from Volkswagen. So it is really rewarding. It's nice. It's nice to see such 1 liter turbocharged petrol engines outperforming the previously large sized engines in this category. It is nice. I am really enjoying the drive. I mean, you can seriously enjoy the drive even in city conditions with this car, because the engine, it is simply the engine, the handling, the chassis, the steering, everything is spot on. It's perfect. There is no competition at all. So you cannot actually compare the driving experience of this and any of its rivals, such as the Baleno, the i20, and even the Honda Jazz, because this is a segment which is unique. If you are a driving enthusiast, then this has to be on the top for you in your shopping list. So yes folks, I am currently driving on the free road of Kodishia, Coimbatore, and let me just enter the free stretch where I can get to experience the rev range, the torque band of the Volkswagen Polo TSI. So here's the free stretch, and I am right now going flat out. So that was 4000 RPM at 60 km per hour in second gear. Now I'm in third, and I'm reaching 80 around 3400 RPM, and that's fourth now. As you can see, the stability, the overall control, the feel and feedback, everything is precise. The steering communicates with you beautifully. The precision is amazing. However, the horn's kind of meek, but it's still fine. So regarding high-speed stability, the overall feel and feedback, long drive capability, everything is fantastic with the Volkswagen Polo. Now I am heading back inside the city. So even at light speeds, this steering is amazingly light. The brakes are also really very good. Everything is beautiful in terms of communication and operation. The gear is also very slick. It's a 6-speed manual transmission on this TSI, so it also adds to the flexibility, the overall long leg ability of highway cruising. Economy is also surprisingly okay, because as you can see, I was driving at high speed, but still this car is able to give around 12 km per liter, and you can easily expect around 18 on longer highway drives. So now the road is clear, so let's just move on. Due to the compact dimensions, the Volkswagen Polo is really handy to use inside the city as well. Everything falls into hand amazingly perfect, so ergonomics are also really perfect. While the dashboard design may not be as flamboyant as some of the other cars in this category, it is still very functional and very high quality. The design is mostly functional, so that you may not get confused with one or the other buttons or functions. So everything is practical here, everything is perfectly laid out. So as you can see, you can easily judge the corners of this car even while driving in such tough city conditions. Talking about the rev range, even if you are in a higher gear at low RPM, this car pulls easily. So as you can see, I am right now in a moderate traffic kind of situation, and of course we have bikers, so you have to handle that. For that, you don't need to downshift often, so that is a big plus point with this TSI petrol engine. I am right now just leaving the car in 4th, and as you can see, I am under 40, but still if you put your foot just a bit slightly down, it responds surprisingly well. There is no lag, there is absolutely zero lag with this engine. I mean, of course, there is obviously the difference between the Skoda Rapid and the Volkswagen Vento and this Volkswagen Polo, because you get the additional extra 70 to 80 kilos on the sedans, but this one does not have that weight, so it's far easier to handle, far easier to drive, and very beautiful in terms of communication, and it's a perfect choice for enthusiasts. So that is why the Volkswagen Polo still remains the enthusiast's choice even after all these years. So even when you want to close up the gap between traffic, you can do that pretty easily. Let me just try catch up with the traffic in 3rd gear, and voila, just caught up with them. It's easy, it's beautiful. There is no words to describe this. It is far better than any new turbocharged petrol engine in the market, especially this being a 1 liter petrol engine. This is simply stunning. You get a much more expensive driving experience with this car. So that's how good this engine is. So now let's conclude this review once we get to the showroom. Now let's take a closer look at the exterior of the new Volkswagen Polo TSI. The basic design remains exactly the same since it was launched in 2010. However, Volkswagen has tried to give it an additional boost with the recent facelift. This facelift includes a front bumper which is inspired by the GTI range, and this being the top spec variant, you get glossy black finishing on the grille along with front fog lamps. You can also notice the subtle body skirting provided all around the car. Moving to the sides, you get to see these very classy looking 16-inch alloy wheels available only on the top spec variant. From the side, however, this Volkswagen Polo 2020 looks exactly the same as any other Volkswagen Polo on the road. At the rear as well, the Volkswagen Polo receives very minimal changes, which include subtly updated tail lamps and a restyled rear bumper which includes diffuser-like elements. Despite being a 10-year-old design, the Polo is still one of the most classiest and elegant looking hatchbacks in the country. Now let's take a look at the interiors. Yes folks, I'm right now inside the new BS6 1 liter TSI Volkswagen Polo Highline Plus top spec variant, and this is how the interior looks like. To beginners, of course, you can see that the interiors have remained largely the same in terms of layout and overall design since the Polo was introduced in 2010. However, you can see subtle but significant changes on the interiors. Of course, on this top spec TSI variant, you get a flat bottom steering wheel with leather wrapping. Of course, the stitching is also of a very high quality along with the leather as well. Even the gear lever, the transmission lever, is leather wrapped. So you get this nice stitching over here as well. Now you can see that this is a 6-speed manual transmission with a dogleg reverse setup. So this is new only for this TSI variant. The regular MPI engine, however, gets 5-speed manual transmission, of course. Now coming to the instrument cluster, of course, this has also remained exactly the same as before. So in order to show you the instrument cluster, I have to turn on the key. So this here is the key of the Volkswagen Polo TSI. Even though being such a premium hatchback, Volkswagen still has not provided a keyless push button start on any variant of the Volkswagen Polo. So it is okay, still fine. So let me just slot it inside. This is how the instrument cluster and the touchscreen system looks like. It just remains exactly the same as before. So you get to see these plain looking dials, which are plain but still very clear, far more clear than any of those fancy instrument clusters, those multicolor displays you see nowadays. So this is functional and very suitable for enthusiasts. So coming to the steering wheel, of course you get to see the audio controls on the left side. Meanwhile, on the right side you get to see the telephonic controls for the Bluetooth and voice command, and you also get these buttons for changing the secondary display of the MID on the instrument cluster as well. So in order to reset the mileage, and if you want to reset the trip meter and all, so you have to press this OK button on the steering wheel. So let me just try to do that. So this here is the average economy, and if you press OK, so it gets reset. So that's all about that. Coming to the headlamp and wiper controls, the wiper controls are on the right side, and on the left side you get to see the headlamp controls, which also include the cruise control buttons and switches as well. So that is very good. Coming to the wipers, of course you get automatic wipers as standard on this top spec variant. However, you do not get automatic headlamps on this top spec variant, which is still fine because you get cruise control. That is actually more useful than automatic headlamps. And talking about headlamp controls, you get the very same high quality switch gear. Everything feels absolutely built to last, and the quality is amazing overall. You get to see these very supportive seats as well, which are also again of amazing quality, even though still being fabric. Volkswagen does not provide leather seats for the Volkswagen Polo, even on the top spec variant, but still the quality of the fabrics is amazing. And on this top spec variant you get this contrast red stitching all over the interior as well, so that is nice. Talking about safety features, you get of course dual airbags along with ABS EBD as standard, along with pre-tensioner equipped seat belts, so that is okay. However, being a top spec variant, Volkswagen could have included additional airbags. So talking about storage space, you get this massive glove box, which also includes cooling function. It is quite similar to the glove boxes available on the Volkswagen Polo and even the Skoda Rapid, so there is no difference over here. And in terms of other storage, you get large 1-liter bottle holders on every door, and of course you get these couple cup holders in the center console, which are actually retractable. As you can see, depending on the size of your bottle or cups, you can actually adjust the size of the cup holders as well, which is actually a nice thoughtful idea. And over here you get to see a 12-volt charging socket. Talking about the infotainment system, this is the very same touchscreen system which is available on even the Volkswagen Vento, so there is actually no difference. Let me just try getting inside. So as you can see, the display is decent. It is not very large, but it's still very decent. The response, however, is surprisingly very good. And you get of course Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in the system. However, what you do not get even on the top spec variant is a reverse parking camera. The Volkswagen Polo, even on the top spec Highline Plus variant, does not offer reverse parking camera. Instead, you get only reverse parking sensors as standard from the entry level variant. So let me just try engaging the reverse gear, and that is all you get. However, one thing to be noted is that even though you do not get reverse parking camera, the sensors are very sensitive and can really help you in parking, so that is actually very nice. So apart from the infotainment system, you get 4 speakers of decent quality, so there is nothing to worry about that. If you want your audio system on your Volkswagen Polo to sound better, you have to look for aftermarket options, however, so that is all about that. Coming lower down, you get to see this automatic climate control setup. The cooling is really good, and the fan also works reasonably silent as well. So coming to the driver armrest, you get this armrest which is quite similar to the other cars, of course the Rapid and the Vento, which also gets an under storage with felt lining, with a rubberized felt lining underneath, so that is actually very nice, so that whatever you place inside, say your wallet or your phone, does not get scratched easily. And you can also retract away the armrest if you don't want that, so that is fine. This steering wheel is also adjustable for tilt and telescopic, as you can see, which is standard from the entry level variant itself, which is a really good option provided on all variants of the Volkswagen Polo. Coming to the driver door, you get to see all power windows, with the driver window getting auto down and auto up function with anti-pinch protection as well. So that is very, very nice. And of course you get auto down function even for the rear windows, and even auto up as well. So that is actually a proper premium feature available on a proper premium hatchback. So that is nice. You also get power foldable and power adjustable ORVMs, just like a Skoda Rapid and even the Vento. So that was all about the dashboard features of the Volkswagen Polo Highline Plus variant. Coming to the roof, of course, you get this electrochromic auto dimming IRVM only for this top spec variant. And talking about the sun visors, the passenger side of course gets a large vanity mirror. Meanwhile, the driver side gets a ticket holder. So that is all about that. The interior lighting is yellow only. However, you do not get a separate lighting for the rear seats, which is quite odd for a premium hatchback. So, but still it's fine. So now let's get to the rear seat to check out whether if there are any sort of differences on this top spec Volkswagen Polo. Yes folks, right now I'm in the back seat of the new Volkswagen Polo BS6 1-liter TSI Highline Plus variant, and this is how the dashboard looks like from the rear seat. As you can see, it is pretty much well loaded in terms of features and gets a lot of premium touches. However, you can see that the overall design layout still remains exactly the same as the 2010 Volkswagen Polo. So some people may like this understated design, but some people may not. So talking about the rear seats, of course you still get the just decent amount of legroom. The space isn't that much in the backseat of the Volkswagen Polo, but still it is reasonably comfortable. You get good amount of under thigh support, which is seriously lacking in some of its rivals. So that is a good point. Along with that, you can see adjustable headrests for the rear seats, which are available from the mid-spec variant itself. So that is actually a very nice touch. Being a premium hatchback, you do not get a center armrest. However, you get rear AC vents as standard on this top spec variant, which is actually a very nice touch. This is the exact same AC vent setup seen on the Volkswagen Polo and the Rapid. So that is carried on as well on this car. You can also see this retractable bottle holder, which is a nice touch because the rear doors do not get any sort of bottle holders. So to compensate for the lack of those, you get this bottle holder over here, and lower down you get a 12-volt charging socket as well. One thing to be noted is that the central tunnel is kind of higher than any of its rivals, so seating 3 abreast could be a bit of a squeeze and an uncomfortable thing for the center passenger, but still for the 4 people this will be decent and very, very comfortable. So that's all about the rear seats. Now let's check out the boot of the Volkswagen Polo. Yes folks, I'm going to open the boot of the Volkswagen Polo by of course pressing the logo, which is kind of a classy method still. And this here is the overall boot capacity of the Volkswagen Polo. You get 280 liters of overall boot space with of course very thick carpeting all over, which really emphasizes on the quality of this car. Under the boot floor you get to see a 14-inch space saver Goodyear spare tire, which is still fine for temporary use. Along with that, you can also find all the tools and jack over there. Of course, you also get the option of folding flat the rear seats to increase the boot capacity for larger luggage items using these tags, of course. However, you still do not get a 60-40 split folding function even on the top spec variant. So that's all about the boot space of the Volkswagen Polo TSI. Now let's have a look at the engine bay. Let's have a look at the engine bay of the Volkswagen Polo TSI, and once we lift the heavy bonnet you get to see the very same 1-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged TSI petrol engine, which is exactly the same as on the Skoda Rapid as well. Even the cover looks exactly the same. And of course this engine also produces 110 PS of maximum power with a torque figure of 175 Newton meters through either a 6-speed manual transmission or a 6-speed torque converter automatic transmission. The big advantage of this engine is its refinement and punchy power delivery with absolutely zero lag. The overall experience makes this one among the best turbo petrol engines to be launched this year in this country. Now let's talk about the pricing and conclude this review. So that was a detailed review of the new Volkswagen Polo TSI BS6. Despite having the smallest engine in its category, the Volkswagen Polo still is the most powerful car in its segment, while also offering solid dynamics, great build quality, good practicality, decent amount of features, and most importantly the Volkswagen branding. Mind you, despite being around 10 years old, the Volkswagen Polo is still not the most affordable car in its segment. especially if you want this stunning 1-liter TSI turbo petrol engine, because this engine is available only on the top spec Highline Plus variant with either a manual or automatic transmission. However, if drive satisfaction is your topmost priority, then the Polo TSI is still the best car for you. Do let me know in the comment section below what do you think about this brand new Volkswagen Polo TSI. Meanwhile, this is VIPRAAJESH signing off. See you on another video. Thank you for watching.